mechanic for Michigan State University. Just been doing best I can.
Have you had any promotions at that position?
I have. I started in the custodial services, then I moved up to maintenance, then a maintenance 3, and now I'm a HVAC mechanic.
And what, after so long, what finally brings you before the court asking the judge to set this aside? Why now versus, sometime in the past when you were eligible?
It's just something that I've always wanted to do, and I did the proper steps. I didn't know how. I've been investigating this, and finally, maybe about 2 years, finally made the choice to take the proper steps. I didn't know if I could do it myself or have an attorney. Just to go with an attorney, I just figured that was my best, and that's why I'm here. It's just something I've always regretted. I want to make it right, and I'm here today to make it right.
You also wanted a return of some of your constitutional rights, didn't you?
That's correct.
Judge, I believe that satisfies. I believe the state of Michigan police have sent the fingerprint and conviction out to the court.
Yes.
Yep.
Let me just ask Ms. Allen if she has any questions for Mr. Bauk.
No questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
And do the people have any position?
We have no objection, Your Honor. It's been a very long afternoon. This is one that I'm happy to say that we have no objection, and I'm happy with all the testimony we've heard, and that makes me happy to hear. And I'm happy to say that I think that we can move forward on this. Thank you.
Yeah, I have no problem with this either. I mean, it's what we call a no-brainer. I mean, Mr. Bauk, you waited a long time. It's unfortunate that you waited that long because you really deserved this sooner than today. But at least you get what you deserve. You deserve to have this expunged. I find that the Michigan State Police report has been provided to the court, and Mr. Bauk has not been convicted of more than 1 felony and 2 misdemeanors. This is not a conviction that can't be set aside. It's been at least 5 years. An opportunity has been given to the Attorney General and the prosecuting official to contest this. And the most important part is that Mr. Bauk's circumstances and his behavior fully justify setting aside this conviction. And I have no hesitation that it is consistent with the public welfare. Mr. Bauk's been a fine citizen, and he deserves to have all of his rights restored. So I have signed the order, and we will mail it out to you.
Very good. Thank you, Judge. Have a good afternoon.
Welcome.
What's left?
Good luck, Mr. Bauk. It was nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you very much.
And that takes us to People of the State of Michigan versus Gregory Richardson, docket number 20-870FH. And this is a motion to modify bond. Would you state your appearance for the record, please, Ms. Samuel?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Attorney Nicole Samuel on behalf of Gregory Richardson. We are both appearing via Zoom today.
All right, and Ms. Allen is here for the people. And you can go ahead, Ms. Samuel.
Thank you, Your Honor. As one of the conditions of Mr. Richardson's bond, as is typical, he's not allowed to leave the state of Michigan. As this court knows, we were here before to modify his bond previously. He was working for Uber. However, because of his charge in this case, he is no longer allowed to work for Uber. So he lost his job at Uber. Mr. Richardson is the owner and president of a professional security service located in Lansing, Michigan. One of their biggest clients is the Black Lives Matter Global Network. And what they do is they travel around the country working security events for the Black Lives Matter group. Obviously, with the pandemic, a lot of the members of Mr. Richardson's team have not been comfortable traveling, which has put a strain on Mr. Richardson, as you know, it's his company. I would like to note that he would not be carrying a weapon as a part of his personal security, so that is not an issue. Basically, his duty would be he would be a safety ambassador. He would drive a van around and kind of scope out and scout the right places for his group to go. And he specializes in verbal de-escalation, and that's what he would be doing. So this, you know, no firearms will be on his person. He will not have access to firearms. And I know that that is something that would be a concern to this court. Mr. Richardson is awaiting trial. Obviously, he's an out of custody defendant, so it's likely going to be a long time before he sees a trial in this court. And in the meantime, it's really beneficial that he keeps his company running and can contribute to society as a working employee. So I would just ask this court allow him to work his jobs, which requires him to travel out of the state. He will still check into probation, do everything else he needs to do. All he's asking is that he's able to work.
All right, thank you. And Ms. Allen, the people's position?
Thank you, Your Honor. Obviously, we people to have to be able to work while they're on bond, but I don't think this is just a simple request to let him work. We've already had this request come from pretrial services, and this court denied it because almost the same reason: lack of oversight during this time, how long he's going to be gone, where he's going to be going. And again, here, carte blanche of you need the state to work security wherever and anytime is not something that I think is a reasonable request. Additionally, one of his charges pending in the 54A District Court was providing security at for Black Lives Matter protesters, except he was charged with brandishing a firearm. And so my concern, while I support the movement, I support him being able to work, is that going to provide security whenever he wants and surrounded, I assume, by other people who have firearms at any point around the country without any oversight is not something that is conducive to being on bond. And so I think maybe piecemeal, if he has a specific instance where he needs to go somewhere, he can provide all the oversight. This court just granted him the ability to leave the state for graduation. So if we have oversight, we know where he's going to be. We know how long, where he's staying, exactly who's going to be monitoring him. I have concerns of just a carte blanche modification. Thank you.
Is the case in 54A? It's in 54A right now?
Yes, it's open and pending right now.
Is it and it's a felony?
No, it's a brandishing a firearm misdemeanor.
Oh, brandishing. Okay, sorry, I didn't hear everything. Okay, thank you. Ms. Samuel, do you have any last words you want to say?
Your Honor, I think it would be tough for Mr. Richardson to every single time he needs to travel out of the country to get in a request with pretrial services and then get it to your court for signature. That process does take some time. It's not like an instantaneous thing. So, I mean, I just think it would be really tough. If that's what this court wants him to do, that's what he'll do. But I just think he's just trying to work, and I don't know when he'll have a trial. So this is going to be a long process.
Yeah, I completely understand that. And I'm not saying that I would never let Mr. Richardson do this, but I have many of the same concerns that I had last time. I support what he wants to do, but that's not the point. As I understand it, the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation has chapters around. And, you know, I don't even have, you know, maybe the actual Global Network Foundation doesn't have a strict organizational structure, but I should at least have something from a chapter that says that Velocity Security Solutions is employed by them or that they are using those services. I don't even have that. And then even if I had that, I agree. My problem here is that just saying, yes, go on your way, leave the state whenever you want. We won't know what state you're going to or where you're going. And, you know, I won't know anything more other than I gave you carte blanche to leave the state. When I don't even have verification from Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation that the company is being employed by them, or where Mr. Richardson will be going. I mean, yeah, again, I agree with you and I understand the problem, but I've never given this kind of consent to anyone under any circumstances to just leave the state with this level of verification lacking. So I know you want to say something, Mr. Richardson. I'm sorry, your attorney speaks for you. And so that's my reasoning though. And I'm not saying that I would never give Mr. Richardson consent to travel out of state. I certainly would consider that, but it has to be with the proper verification and under the right circumstances. And that's what I apply across the board to anyone that I'm giving permission to leave the state. So I'm denying it, but without prejudice, you can, rebring a more specific and verifiable request.
Thank you, Your Honor. If we're able to obtain proof that his company is employed by them and maybe the first couple jobs and where he'd be going, would that satisfy the court's requirements?
I don't know if you can still hear me. I just got a notice that my computer had a malfunction and it's restarting. If you can still hear me, the answer is yes. I'll reconsider this. I just have to have what I indicated I have to have.
Thank you, Your Honor. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can. I don't know what the deal is. My computer's restarting and I'm signing in all over again, but
Okay,
you would think that would have disconnected us, but I guess it didn't.
I guess not. Oh,
now it did.
we can still hear you. I'm not sure what's going on.
I don't know.
I have one further thing I wanted to address with the court, if I may.
Yes.
So you just today approved a travel request for Mr. Richardson to go to his daughter's graduation.
Yeah.
He was planning on traveling by car, but he was just hit in an accident a couple days ago. So his car is in the shop and he is planning on flying now, the same dates and everything. But I just wanted to make sure that was still okay with the court.
Yeah, perfect. Hold on. Yeah, perfect example. See, I had no problem with the request that I approved today because it was the kind of limited and specific and verifiable request that I'm good with. So yes, he can fly instead of driving.
Perfect. Thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate it.
Sure. I don't know what happened with this. This is crazy, but